You lie down in bed, turn off the light, and almost without thinking, you reach for your phone. Maybe to check something light, reply to a quick message, or just to relax a little before falling asleep. But then, before you know it, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, have passed. And that feeling of sleep that had just started to come on, is gone. Your body may be tired, but your mind is now full of images, words, notifications, and racing thoughts. This happens so often that many people don't even question it anymore. It's become routine, lie down and scroll. But what seems harmless is actually one of the biggest sleep thieves of modern life. The screen lights up your face, stimulates your brain, confuses your biological clock, and disrupts the production of the hormone that would help your body relax. All of this while you think you're just taking a quick look. If you struggle with insomnia, this habit has an even greater impact. Your body already has trouble recognizing that it's time to sleep, and your phone reinforces the opposite message. But there is a solution. People with chronic insomnia have been trying out simple, accessible changes that help break this cycle. And that's what we're going to talk about now: why your phone delays your sleep, and what you can realistically do to change that. The relationship between your phone and sleep goes far beyond distraction. The screen's light, fast-paced stimuli, emotional content, and constant interaction keep your brain in a state of alertness, even when your body is begging to rest. This constant stimulation prevents the natural transition from wakefulness to sleep, a process that should happen gradually, quietly, and predictably. When you use your phone at night, you're feeding your brain with information that demands a response, attention, and processing. The endless feed, notifications, short videos, and blinking alerts act like little jolts of neurological excitement. They increase the release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and anticipation, and delay the onset of real rest. The result is a still body and a racing mind. For people with insomnia, this is especially risky. An insomniac's brain already has trouble shutting down, and any extra stimulation just reinforces that state of alertness. Even if you're not fully aware of it, using your phone right before bed may be the main thing keeping your mind awake, even when everything around you is silent. The good news is that science has shown real, effective ways to reverse this pattern. Small changes in how you use your phone, paired with a more respectful sleep routine, produce real results, even for people who've struggled with insomnia for years. And the first step is understanding what's really going on inside your brain when you're staring at a screen before bed. What happens in your brain when you use your phone before sleeping? Every time you look at your phone screen at night, your brain enters a state of activation. The emitted light stimulates receptors in your retina that communicate directly with the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a structure responsible for coordinating the body's biological clock. This nucleus interprets light as a signal that it's still daytime, and as a result, delays the release of melatonin, the hormone that triggers sleep. But it's not just the light that stimulates you. The content you consume also contributes to keeping your nervous system on high alert. Each video, message, comment, or news item sets off a chain of emotional responses, even subtle ones, that activate areas of the brain related to attention, memory, and vigilance. These regions should be powering down, but instead, they keep functioning as if something important is still about to happen. Moreover, the habit of using your phone before bed creates a mental association between your bed and mental activity. Instead of associating that space with rest, your brain starts seeing it as a place of stimulation. This disrupts the natural transition into sleep and makes it harder to fully relax. It's like trying to fall asleep in the middle of an office, maybe a quiet one, but still buzzing with internal commands. And when blue light enters the picture, things get even more complicated. Why blue light disrupts more than you think? Blue light, emitted in high concentrations by screens on phones, tablets, and computers, directly interferes with your ability to fall asleep. Even in low intensity, it can suppress melatonin production for hours. And the screen doesn't have to be extremely bright or close to your face. Simply looking at it activates the retina-sensitive receptors, which then send a message to the brain: it's not time to sleep yet. The problem becomes worse for people who already struggle with sleep disorders. Those with chronic insomnia tend to have a more vulnerable circadian rhythm, which adjusts more slowly. In these cases, the impact of nighttime exposure to blue light is even more pronounced. Falling asleep becomes difficult, sleep becomes fragmented, and the chances of waking up in the middle of the night increase significantly. What's more, blue light doesn't just delay sleep, it alters the quality of it. Even if you do manage to fall asleep after using your phone, your brain will struggle to enter the deep phases of sleep, the ones where the body truly restores itself. The result is a night that seems long but feels unrefreshing. You wake up as if you hadn't slept at all, and this only reinforces the insomnia cycle. But blue light isn't the only culprit. The content you consume on your screen also has a powerful and often invisible effect on sleep. How emotional content on social media disrupts sleep. Not all of the content you consume on your phone before bed is neutral. Often, without realizing it, you expose yourself to negative news, heated debates, social comparisons, or even stories that stir up anxiety or excitement. This type of material activates emotional regions of the brain, such as the amygdala and the limbic system, areas that should be winding down in order for sleep to settle in smoothly. Even when the content doesn't feel particularly heavy, it can still trigger subtle emotional reactions that build up. A post that annoys you, a video that hooks your attention, a message that stirs anxiety. These internal reactions keep your mind busy, fueling internal dialogue and repetitive thoughts that interfere with sleep onset. And the more emotionally engaged you are, the harder it becomes to fully relax and drift off. In people with chronic insomnia, this emotional sensitivity is often even more heightened. The brain is already in a state of hyperalertness, and any emotional trigger can be enough to block the shutdown process. So what might seem like just a bit of distraction on your phone could, in reality, be the very thing sabotaging hours of attempted rest. Yes, content has an impact, but there are also proven ways to break this cycle, with solutions that have helped many people who face the same struggles. The impact of cell phone use on melatonin in people with chronic insomnia. Chronic insomnia isn't just an occasional struggle to fall asleep. It involves deep alterations in the way the brain regulates sleep, including a heightened sensitivity to light and nighttime stimuli. For people living with this condition, using a phone before bed worsens the situation even further. That's because melatonin production, which is often already delayed or reduced, suffers even greater suppression when screen time is added to the mix. Studies involving patients diagnosed with chronic insomnia have shown that after using electronic devices at night, the onset of melatonin production can be delayed by up to 90 minutes. This delay compromises the entire architecture of sleep, making it take much longer for the body to enter the deep stages. And even when sleep does arrive, it tends to be fragmented, with frequent awakenings and a lingering sense of tiredness in the morning. In this context, the effect of the screen isn't just visual, it's neurochemical. The brightness of the phone combined with the emotional stimulation of the content creates a silent storm in the brain. The nervous system remains active, and the body cannot send the signal that it's time to power down. But this doesn't have to be permanent. Many people who have lived in this pattern for years have managed to transform it by adopting simple, consistent strategies, and those proven solutions are exactly what we're going to talk about next. Real solutions, strategies from people with insomnia who successfully changed this habit. Changing the habit of using your phone before bed isn't easy, especially when it has become part of your wind-down routine. But many people with chronic insomnia have managed to make this transition gradually, without guilt or rigid rules. One common strategy among them was setting a clear, shut-off time, a specific limit, usually 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime, to put the phone away and stop interacting with screens. Another effective step was keeping the phone out of the bedroom or, at the very least, far from the bed. Some people started leaving it to charge in another room, using analog alarm clocks to avoid the excuse of needing it for the alarm. This helped the brain detach the association between being in bed and being connected. Over time, the mind began to reassociate that space with rest, not stimulation. Many also adopted lighter substitutions, physical books with simple reading, audio of calming stories, soothing music, or guided breathing exercises. These alternatives filled the gap that the phone used to occupy, but without triggering the brain areas that keep the body alert. The secret was repetition. The more often these practices were added to the routine, the more the body learned to respond. And as soon as the first signs of improvement appeared, motivation to keep going followed. How to replace the phone with calmer rituals, without feeling bored. The idea of giving up your phone at night may cause some resistance, especially if it has become your go-to way to relax. That's why the key is to create replacements that actually make sense to you, that bring pleasure, comfort, and lightness, without feeling like a punishment. Many people discover that it's not the screen itself that relaxes them, but the habit of having a moment just for themselves. And that moment can still exist, just in another form. One of the most accessible swaps is reading short, light texts. It doesn't need to be a self-help book or heavy literature. It can be short stories, poetry, magazine articles, or brief chapters. The important thing is that the content is calm and doesn't trigger emotional activation. Reading with soft lighting, either sitting or lying down, already signals to the brain that the day is winding down. Others prefer using this time to jot down a few lines in a notebook. It could be a list of good things from the day, a quick emotional release, or just some scattered words. This practice helps organize thoughts and reduce mental agitation. For those who enjoy sounds, trying out ambient audio, relaxing soundtracks, or narrated bedtime stories, which require no screen, can be a great fit. These are simple, pleasant rituals that gradually show the body it's safe to rest. And for those who still need the help of technology, there are tools that, when used wisely, can actually support sleep. Tech tools that help, instead of hinder, your sleep. Not all technology needs to be tossed aside. Some digital tools, when thoughtfully chosen and mindfully used, can support a smoother transition between being alert and falling asleep. Guided meditation apps, nature sounds, bedtime stories, and paced breathing exercises are examples of resources that many people with chronic insomnia have successfully incorporated into their routines. The difference lies in how they're used. The goal is to treat the device as a support tool, not a source of distraction. This means selecting the content ahead of time, dimming the screen as much as possible, turning on night mode, and avoiding any further browsing after that. Placing the device away from the bed or with the screen facing down also reduces visual stimulation, keeping the focus on the sound alone. There are also smart lights and apps that automatically adjust the brightness and tone of your environment throughout the evening, creating a more relaxing atmosphere during the final hours of the day. These tools act as environmental cues that help the brain recognize that the day is ending. When used intentionally and sparingly, technology can assist in the slowing down process. But it's important to set boundaries, and stick to a few simple rules that protect your rest time. How to create a simple rule for logging off screens at the right time, and stick to it. The hardest part about stopping phone use at night isn't understanding why, it's actually putting it into practice. That's why the most effective strategy is to create a clear, easy-to-remember rule that fits naturally into your routine. No impossible goals. One of the most effective approaches is to choose a last screen time, like, at 9 p.m., I turn off my phone. This commitment to a fixed time helps the brain create a new pattern. Making this rule visible also helps. You can write it on a sticky note and leave it on your nightstand, your bathroom mirror, or even set it as an alarm with a gentle reminder like, time to take care of your sleep. This small action reinforces your decision and helps prevent the automatic habit of picking up your phone without realizing it. The clearer the rule, the easier it will be to follow consistently. It's also important what you do right after stepping away from the screen. Having a ritual already prepared, like making tea, taking a shower, or opening a book, stops your brain from wandering in search of another stimulus. The transition needs to be quick and gentle. And the more times you repeat this cycle, the more natural it becomes. In just a few days, your body will start to recognize that this is the time to power down. And the difference it makes in your sleep can be faster than you expect. The difference you feel after a few days without your phone at night. During the first few days without your phone before bed, your body may find it strange. Your mind still looks for stimulation, the habit feels missing, and the slower pace might seem uncomfortable. But quickly, something starts to change. Sleep comes more easily. Your breathing becomes calmer. Your thoughts are less rushed. And that constant struggle to fall asleep begins to fade. Those with insomnia usually notice the effects even more clearly. Because when you remove the phone from your nighttime routine, the brain starts to recognize night as a time for rest, not stimulation. The body responds with a quicker sense of relaxation, the time it takes to fall asleep shortens, and the depth of sleep improves. Even if you wake up during the night, it becomes easier to fall back asleep, because your nervous system is already less activated. Over time, this change becomes the norm. You no longer have to try so hard to fall asleep. Your body knows what to do, and it happens almost automatically. Rest becomes natural again, not a struggle. All this from one simple, powerful decision: protecting your night from light, scrolling, and mental overstimulation. A gesture that, repeated consistently, can completely transform your relationship with sleep. Your phone may seem harmless in your routine, but at night it becomes one of the biggest obstacles to deep rest. The screen's light, the constant stimulation, and the emotional content all keep your brain awake, even when your body is asking for silence. And for those who live with insomnia, this impact isn't minor. It builds up night after night, feeding a cycle that's hard to break. But once you start protecting that moment, even with small decisions, the body responds. It realizes it doesn't need to stay on high alert all the time. That your bed is a place for rest, not stimulation. That your mind can gradually switch off, instead of being forced to stop suddenly after an avalanche of information. Sleep becomes a natural response again, not a daily battle. The solution isn't giving everything up, it's about building new associations. Creating gentle rituals, using technology with intention, and listening to the signals your body sends. When night becomes a safe space, sleep returns with less resistance. And that process starts with one simple choice: the moment you decide to put the phone away and let your body do what it's always known how to do, rest. Now tell me in the comments, do you usually use your phone before bed? Have you tried changing that habit? Share your experience. Your story might help someone else who's going through the same challenge. And if this content resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll get a heads up whenever a new video comes out with practical, accessible tips designed for people who want to sleep better, no gimmicks. Let's keep moving forward together, turning your nights into true moments of rest.